Atamarie. Atamarie kia koutou. E te iwi, huri noa I te motu. Good morning, everybody. It's your girl, Sophronia Smith, and I'm here at 92.7 Arrow FM Access Radio in Masterton, and it is a beautiful day outside. We are in Te Karu o Te Ika o Wairarapa, or the Eye of the Fish of Maui, and you're listening to Mama E-Preneur Under Construction. And over the next couple of weeks, every Thursday, 9 to 10, I'm here and I'm sharing my learnings, what I learned from the Kahau I Te Ao e-commerce program. And I want to give a shout out to Travis O'Keefe and his team, who are the masterminds behind Kahau I Te Ao e-commerce program, which is supported by Te Whare Huka Huka, who have the vision to improve the lives of 10 million Indigenous people through education. So before I start, tuatahi e huri oku nei whakaro ki te whānau Maynard, e rere ana te aroha kia koutou te whānau pani I e noho ana ki raro I te āhua pauri, e te taonga e te pāpa haere oki ai. Firstly, I just want to acknowledge the Maynard family whose pāpa passed away most recently. I have had the fortune to work with the Mel and Pip when I was involved with the South Wairarapa District Council, and thinking of everybody, and know that that the whānau from South Wairarapa and the whānau from throughout the motu who are able to be there with you are there. Neira te mihi kia koutou. Before I start, I've got one pānui this weekend. Whiria te hono pai heretia whānau day. So Kahununu ki Wairarapa has a whānau day, and they are partnering with Te Kaumā Iwa, who is the iwi-led COVID-19 vaccination clinic. Excuse me. And they're going to be down at Trust House, down at the swimming pools, Sunday from 10 to 4. There's going to be the bouncy castles, weaving. My brother, Kepa Smith, will be there entertaining. There will be free kai. Te Kaumā Iwa will have their clinical staff there. So if whānau want to be vaccinated, there's that option there. No mai haere mai come. It is free. It is for whānau, 10 to 4, Trust House this Sunday. Okay, so we've got all of that out of the way, and before we dive into today's kaupapa, we're just going to do a recap of last week's kōrero. Last week we started talking about the one-page store on Shopify, and really looking at 4 specific aspects of that. And so they say, or our kaiako, our teacher, our mentor, Travis, identifies there are 4 key elements that need to be included when you have a store that converts, and you get sales. The first thing is having a product service photo. And so last week we've practiced doing this for my own product, and the reason that you have these that there is this technique to selling things online is because people can't smell, feel, touch your product, and so they're buying with their eyes. And just recently I went on to a clothing store owned by Adrienne Whitehood. She is a Māori fashion designer, and I looked at all of her clothes and I wanted to buy everything. And it's not just because her clothes are stunning. She's one of my favorite designers. It's because her clothes, there were multiple pictures, and they were taken on a white background, but the multiple pictures showed the different angles, special features. So she has a poi that's part of her logo, and the poi is on every garment, and but so there is a technique to actually taking service photos or product service photos that are going to sell. The next thing is about creating a description. So the product, you're going to create a description, and once again we had to actually do this ourselves, and for my and there's a technique to it. I'm a writer, I'm a content writer. This is a different type of writing, but it was actually really quite neat doing it. But the purpose of the service description is to give the customer the most important information about the, and the benefits of the product, so that they want to buy it. And on Adrienne Whitewood's page, she has this olive ngoru tie dress, and it's stunning. And I looked at the description, and it says, inspired by the core 5-5 formation, depicting the cutting of the waves when the waka travelled. This beautiful dress is one of our favourite prints, ngoru, which is wave, or ngaru, sorry, a versatile piece in soft and breathable fabric that you will enjoy wearing all year round for any occasion. Stand out with your look. So nowhere there did she say buy me, but she talked about these, she used these specific wording that draws you in and makes you want to buy it. Okay, the third thing was social proof. It's about the idea that consumers will adapt their behaviour according to what others are doing. So I went to Nicola Tekeri's page. Nicola, like Adrienne, is a talented fashion designer, and Nicola is also an alumni of Kahau i te Ao. And on her page, just pages and pages of testimonials, people saying her products are authentic. And I really love her fashion sense and designs of her clothing, but that's really important, because it says to people, once again, it goes back to people will adapt their behaviour according to what other people are doing. So if others are saying this is good and they're buying it, then it influences others to buy and say, hey, that is good. So that's the three key things that we talked about when creating the one-page store. If you want to listen to more, go back and listen to my show. It's on the Arrow FM Facebook page. You can also download the Arrow FM podcast app and listen to the show or any of the programs that are presented through Arrow FM, and listen to them on any of your devices at any time that you want. Okay, so what juicy kōrero or talk is on the menu today? So we're going to be talking about part 2 of creating your store. And there are 3 key things. The first thing is VSL, a video sales letter. And a video sales letter is a video created to convince your customer avatar or your best buyer that your product or service, offer stack, which is the bundling of products, can solve their issues, or if they've got they're having problems with losing weight, then my product or a product, keto food or bars and shakes, it is going to help you in a certain way. So, but the video, it's important that you actually convince your customer avatar that your product and your offer stack can help solve their problem. And this week I've actually made my very first video, and to tell the truth, it was actually quite buzzy. It was quite exhilarating, but it was also quite challenging. Once again, there's a technique to it, and there's a few pieces of there's a few ingredients that you have to include, and I'm going to talk about those. The second thing that I'm going to talk about today is an app, and this app is called Calendly. And so if you are setting up a service, so let's say you're a coach and which means that you're going to be making appointments, one-on-one appointments with people, and they're buying your services. You're an expert in marketing or selling things online or losing weight or whatever it is. And Calendly is an appointment booking app. And what it does is that it sets everything up for you. And it's automated. It gives your client or your customer avatar reminders, but it also has a set of questions that the customer avatar or the potential customer avatar has to answer. So, and what that does is that it qualifies them, and it lets you know this person is or not or isn't the right fit for my service, or I've got an expertise and I know what I can do. This person, I can help them or I can't, So it just helps you to kind of decipher that. The third thing that I'm going to be talking about is my reflections and lessons from Kahau I Te Ao. And there are two specific things that I really want to drive home. The first thing is about mindset. And the very first module that we engaged in and we completed, and the very first module I talked about on my show was mindset. And I have learnt so much about myself, and so I'm going to talk about mindset. The second thing that I want to talk about is not being afraid to try, to fail, to succeed. And I think that actually goes back to mindset, but I've kind of teased that out. So this is what we're going to be talking about today. But before we do, we're just going to play a waiata. And now I have, for those that don't know, I am in a previous life, I too was a singer and entertainer and worked in Australia. And at a young age, about 14 years old, I was working at Takiroa Theatre in Wellington, and I love, and it is my happy and my safe space, music is. So this is a waiata that Whanaunga wrote, and his name is John Tiakitai Tudi, and he wrote this song, and I created the tune, and what it talks about is oku tapairu, and tapairu, a woman of high rank, and there are three prominent leaders, kahununu leaders, female leaders that I talk about in this waiata. Hini I pakitia, aire ni te nahu, and maku I te rangi. And this waiata is about it's about celebrating the fact that women, these Māori women, women in the Māori culture have always been leaders. They have always been trailblazers. They have always been innovators. And even today, even though colonisation has brought in these, like this patriarchal attitude, women are still powerful, and women are still, in many whānau, on many marae, women are still leaders. Okay, so we're going to listen to this waiata. It's called Oku Tapairu, Oku Tapairu, and it is sung by myself and written by Tiakitai, or John Tiakitai Tudi. Karapa au kaiara, oku tapairu, tahurangi e, ko kaura na kikirunga, ko kaura na kikiraro, karapa au kaiara, oku tapairu, tahurangi e.
wahine tō tika e naura te hapai tō iwi. Ko kaura na ki ronga, ko kaura.
That was Oku Tapairu, written by John Tiakitai Turi, and sung by myself many years ago. You can find that on Spotify or YouTube. Okay, so we're going to be diving into VSL, or a video sales letter, which is a video created to convince your customer avatar or your potential buyer that your product or service, offer stack, which is your bundle of products, can solve their problems. And so what's the purpose of this? The purpose of the VSL, in short, is about increasing the number of sales. And they say that in 2017, there was some statistics kind of put out, and it says that 55% of all traffic, potential clients, come from the VSL. So that's huge. But VSL can also be used to make your target market take action, whether that means signing up for a free webinar, opting into your email list, or buying a product or service. So it's about influencing behaviour. But you're not a video maker. Well, and how do I make this if I'm not a video maker? Well, that's okay, because I'm not either. And I made my very first one this week, but I'm going to share some of the ingredients that go into making a very powerful VSL, or video sales letter. The very first, and so there's a few tips that you have to be cognizant of before I give the kind of like the ingredients. The first thing is that your video has to be short while giving you the opportunity to share your message. So just remember that there are people that are, browsing the net, and they're gonna see your video, and right from the get-go, you have to grab them in, or you have to bring them in, and that's about being very clear about about how you're going to help people, how you're going to help them solve their problems. But you have to be able to articulate your message in a very clear way and in a captivating way. Two, if the viewer or doesn't understand very, very quickly how your product or service will help them, then they're not going to bother watching your video. So once again, it goes back to ensure that you're very clear, and from the get-go, you're actually saying how you can help them. The third thing is that you have to be able to convey your message or share your message, and say, I can help you solve your problem, and say it in a way that where you say that my way of doing this and solving your problem is the best way. And just remember that there's other competitors and other alternatives, but you want to say this is and so how you might back that up is through statistics. I have worked with X amount of people have got this result. So but you back that up, and you say this is why you need this product, my product. Social proof. The fourth thing is social proof. You need proof. You need a quote from somebody or statistics that support how your product or service gets the results that you're saying. So once again, it's about backing it up. And if you're selling, so those are just the tips. And now we're going to talk about the ingredients in your video sales letter. So this is for people that are selling a product. So you might be selling moisturizer, clothes, makeup, whatever, but it's a product. And so the very first thing that you're going to do is that you're going to explain the problem. So I'm going to use the example of obesity and diabetes. So the problem is obesity and diabetes. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to agitate the problem. So, obesity can lead to high blood pressure, cardiac arrest, sleep apnea. It affects your life quality, ability to do things with your children. So, you're agitating the problem. Then you're going to introduce the solution. So, my solution is keto diet products, bars and meals that you can buy that have already been created for you. All you have to do is put them in the microwave or eat at a certain time. And then you're going to say, build credibility. That's the fourth thing. And so you might say, I've been studying keto diet and partnered for 10 years. I've also lost 50 kilos and I've partnered with this doctor or this, what are they called? A nutritionalist who is an expert in keto diet. But you're going to build credibility why people should actually, listen to you and actually say, hey, this person knows what they're talking about. And you're going to show proof, and so it might be that you get some quotes. Keto is the best solution to obesity. It helps you in losing weight and burning fat through pushing your body into ketosis. But you're going to get some quotes from the world leading dietitians or keto guru. And once again, that's about saying, yeah, this works. This is going to work. And then you're going to explain exactly what they get. So once again, we go back to that offer stack. The offer stack is the combining of products. And what it does is that the combining of these products, it'll increase the perceived value. And so let's say that for this offer stack, I'm going to include a 8-week diet plan, access to a Facebook support page, weekly check-ins. You're going to also get 3 meals for 7 days a week for that 8-week plan. And so you'll just outline all of the things that you're going to get in the offer stack, and then you're going to give a reason to act now. So it might be obesity affects lives, it affects quality of life, and you want to spend time with your children and be around, etc., etc. And then you're going to close with a call to action, and the call to action is act now. This deal is only available for a limited amount of times. And so those are the key ingredients. So go through that again. I'll just identify them, explain the problem, agitate the problem, introduce the solution, build credibility, show proof, explain exactly what they'll get, and give reason to act now, and close. And they always close with a call to action. So there's those 7 key things. Now there is a copywriter, a very famous copywriter, Jim Edwards, and a copywriter is a person that writes marketing material. And he explains that when you're writing your video sales letter, you use language that, or you portray, you come across as you're empathetic with people's challenges. I know what it's like to experience obesity, for example. When you're agitated, kind of like thinking about agitating their problem, make them understand how the problem affects them. Why is it a problem? Think of how big the problem is. Did you know? And it might be, did you know that X amount of people will experience diabetes because of obesity? It affects families, but you agitate the problem. When you're building credibility and why you should trust you, you tell your story. So it might be in 2020 I was 500 Ks, or 500 Ks, that's not a reality, but might be I was 200 Ks and I was so unwell and I went on keto and I lost X amount of money. But you tell your story in that bit. And then when you're going to be showing proof, how do you know it's actually going to work? And you might use a case study or testimonials, people that have actually used keto and they've lost this and it's been able to reverse diabetes, and but you have to show proof. And when you're giving your reason to act now, you might say something like, this is limited, this is a limited offer, and but it's when you use certain wording, because you want people to buy your product, and you're using tested, scientifically tested terminology and ways of actually, influencing people's behaviour. And then you always close with a final call to action: buy now, buy now. And so go over that. If you are wanting to create a video sales letter, go over that. There's also lots and lots of content on YouTube that you can actually have a look at. Go and have a look at it. Okay, the second bit that we're going to look at, is if you're selling a service, which is different to a product, so you might be a coach, your video sales letter, the structure of it is a little bit different, but it kind of has similar ingredients, but it's just a little bit different. Okay, and so I'll give an example, and then we're going to go to a waiata. So first of all, what you're going to be doing is that you're going to be saying, you're going to start with the big promise. So let's say, for example, the big promise is get rid of writer's block. And then what you're going to do is that you're going to introduce the problem. So the problem is professional writers sometimes experience writer's block. That is a barrier to them actually writing. And then the next thing that you're going to say is what if? What if I could help you unblock that? Unblock your writer's block. Then you're going to introduce yourself. So my name is Sophronia Smith, the CEO of Unblock Limited, who specializes in helping writers get through writer's block. And that's not a reality. I'm not a writer, a net level writer. That's not my company, but it's just an example. Then the next thing you're going to do is that you're going to introduce the solution. We have a proven technique that has been researched for over 30 years. It includes a 30-day meditation unblock subconscious plan. Okay, then you're going to call to action: buy this unblocking package now. And then scarcity or urgency, limited edition. This is only available for this amount of time, and but you get my gist. A very famous copywriter, once again, copywriter is a marketing writer, writes marketing content to sell things. He recommends the following when you're talking about your big promise: why are they there? Why should they watch you? What are they looking for? So you really, really have to immediately writer's block. So right from the get-go, I'm going to be, talking about explaining the big promise, getting rid of writer's block, and then what is writer's block. Introduce the problem, speak to their problems, their true problems. And this goes back to you really knowing your customer. What are their pains? What are they really actually experiencing? And then the what if, it's about starting to paint a picture of what their life would look like if they had their problem solved. So if you had this program, then I can help you unblock your writer's block, and then you'll be able to have this unlimited flow of writing and etc. Write your #1 bestseller, and then introduce yourself, a quick origin story. Why did I create this? I'm a writer as well, and I had writer's block, and that's why I researched this, and I've come up with this, and I've worked with these people to help other writers going through this, and introduce the solution, and and then tell them the call to action, and then you're actually bringing them in, and you're saying, get on the phone now, ring me, I want to talk to you, I have the answer to your problem, call now. And scarcity and urgency, use time as a factor to create the urgency, the limited edition. Okay, it's only available for a certain period of time, and but these are some of the tips and the techniques that we're using, and you can tell by my voice that it's actually quite exciting for me. I love doing this. I'm loving this, even though it's new to me, but it's also actually quite exhilarating. So before we go to the next kaupapa, we're going to take another break, and we're going to listen to a waiata, and this waiata is called He Rangi a Tāhua, beautiful day. It is a beautiful day. It's written by Te Reo Takiwa Dunn, and this is a stunning waiata.
Over, we connect. tangata tae atu kia koe tangaroa te tara here wairua kia yo matua a kāua I hora ia te wai taku mata aku karu taku ihu te wai korokoro te reoha no te rangi tuha he rangi ia tahua kanoa wikonei he rangi a tahua tēnā koe e te atua oe he wai e rere ana ki roto I o puwheko he wai aroha tangata pera ki te puotanga e oe he rangi a tāua I hora ia te wai taku mata aku karu taku ihu te wai korokoro te reoha no te rangi tuha he rangi ia tahua kanoa wikonei he rangi ia tahua.
That was He Rangi a Tāhua. Oh, that is such a beautiful waiata. Titiro ki te koro wai aroha. Oh, look at the cloak of love. That is, I just think there's just so many beautiful kupu and metaphor in that waiata. Neira te mihi e te rangatira te reo takiwā for this beautiful waiata. Okay, so before our waiata, we were talking about the video sales letter, and I was talking about the ingredients that are important to include in it if you have a product or if you have a service. And this next part of the kōrero, we're just going to be talking about some of the real practical things. The real practical things about, writing your script and practicing it, and some of the tools that you can use to help you to actually refine your letter. Okay, so the very first thing that you want to do, and this is what I did, is that I wrote my script, and it took me a bit of time, and I got each of the pieces of the ingredients, I put them in a Word doc, and I just filled them out. And I done my little bit of research, and I thought, okay, this will go here, this will go here, and then I just kept refining the words so that I was trying to make it as succinct and as clear as possible. So just do that. Be thinking of and you can also create it on a PowerPoint, but you use the tools that you're most familiar with, and that is going to make it the easiest for you, even if you have to write it down on a piece of paper. But use whatever is easiest for you. Then what you're going to do is that you're going to practice your kōrero, record yourself. So I did mine on my camera, and I would say that I done it about 30 times before I actually got a really good one. And some of it was that I was certain words, because they weren't words that I was used to saying, some of them. And so I was kind of like stumbling with them, and then I'd laugh, and then I'd, as you do when you're practicing things, but I just repeated and repeated and repeated, stop, go, and I done mine on my camera. You can also practice on Zoom or on Loom, and those are both free, so go and check out those apps. So everything that I'm going to share, it's always free. And then when you talk, so these are some of the things that I love to talk, and people always say that I am a very good speaker. And speaking is something that I am developing, because I would like to be actually a professional speaker and actually be able to speak at different events and speak about my kaupapa. And so I'm constantly practicing my speaking. So these are some of the things that I have learned. And it is always about being yourself. Don't try and be like Russell Brunson or Sam Ovens or Tony and what's his name, Anthony Robbins. And these are all gurus. These are like world-renowned gurus in commerce and in the e-commerce space. But be your authentic self. Also, in my voice, so I do a lot of ads, and I've had opportunities to do a lot of voiceovers and things like that. And there's certain techniques that you use to convey certain emotions. And so, and what I want to be doing and what I've tried to portray in my video is conveying trust. And so that's the way that I speak, and you want to use to come across as empathetic, is that you understand. I actually genuinely understand what you're going through, because I've been through it too. Okay, so those are just some of the things to be mindful of. And keep it simple, and keep it succinct. You don't need to write a big, huge doctoral thesis. It's just about really simple, really, really to the point. And then the next thing, be mindful of the platforms that you want to put it onto. So this is when you come to the recording stage. Just know that when you're putting it on the different platforms, it actually has to be put into different formats. So we are going to be putting ours onto Shopify. So there's a certain format that we will be using for Shopify. But if you're going to be putting it onto YouTube or Facebook, the formats are different. So always be mindful of that. The last thing that I would say is just break a leg. Have fun. It is, and it's, if this is new to you, have fun, all right. But honestly, I would say that it was both challenging and it was actually exhilarating. It was exhilarating for me to do this. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is Calendly. And this is specifically helpful. It's a free app, an appointment booking app, and it's helpful if you have a service, so if you're a coach. And this will be added to your one-page store. So if you're like us and you have Shopify, a Shopify one-page store, then you're going to have to set Calendly up so that when people come to your store and they want to buy your services, or they want to have the one-on-one 15-minute one-on-one, they can actually just go on to Calendly and they see the dates that are available and they can click on it. And what it does is that it will send them an appointment reminder and say, hey, you're going to be meeting with Sophronia Smith on this day at this time. But it also will send a reminder to me. So your customer avatar, ideal buyer, they're going to be visiting your store and they're going to watch your letter, your video sales letter, maybe read about your offer stack and be interested. And they'll say, yeah, I think this is me. Sophronia, she's on fleek, man. Yeah, I want to talk to her. I think that she can help me with my unblocking my writer's block. And so they're going to go on to Calendly, book a Zoom call with me. But before they book the Zoom call, they're going to be asked a few questions, and so that you know if this person is the best fit or not. And you have to decide what those questions are. Are you a writer? Are you willing? Are you ready right now to do this? Because some people, they will, and what I've experienced when I've supported people in the past is that they wanted help, but they weren't actually ready to actually make action. And I take action at that time. And what I decided after experiencing this a few times is that I wasn't interested in working with them right now because they still had a few things to do. But at a later time, I would work with them. And so what it meant is that I could focus my time on those who were ready. And so if the customer avatar answers the questions correctly, they'll book an appointment with you. And then my job is to Zoom them, diagnose their problems, and say, I can help you this way. You're here, you're at A, and I'm going to help you to get to F. And if you haven't used Calendly before, that's okay. I'd never used it before doing this module, and I probably won't be using Calendly because I have a product, but I think the more tools and apps that I know about and I'm aware of, just the more things that I have in my kete. So if you want to learn about Calendly, one of the things that you can do is go to YouTube University, and there are a number of videos there. The one that we looked at was Calendly for beginners, and what I did is that I opened up the YouTube on my laptop screen, so I had the video set up here, and then I opened up I was able to actually bring up the Calendly on this school right next door to the YouTube video, and as they spoke, I actually did it, and I was able to, if I didn't understand something, I just stopped it, I replayed it, and then when I understood it, and when I knew, okay, I'll go here and I click this and I do this, and but that's how I set it up, and it didn't take me long at all. It might have taken me about 15-20 minutes. And I think the value of Calendly is that it's got great integration options. What that means is that Calendly allows for integration with Office 365, Google, and Outlook. So if you use that, if that is you use Office 365 for work or Google or Outlook, whatever you use, Calendly is able to integrate with that. And what it does is that some of the great features of Calendly is that it automatically adds new events to your calendar, but also it actually identifies if there's overlapping or potential double ups, and it will let you know. And when you're setting up the Calendly, you go about and you say, okay, I'm only going to be taking customers on these days. So it might be Tuesday, Thursday, 10 to 2, because the kids come home at 3, so I need to be free. And so what that means is when the customer avatar comes on, they'll say, okay, these are the appointment times, and you choose the date and the time. And then what you can also do is that you can actually let Calendly know that in between your appointments you want a 15-minute break, and that just means that you can go to wharepaku, get you a drink or do whatever, write some notes down, and it's automated. It's got these automated features. You can reschedule, reminders. It's simple, but Calendly, I think I myself will be using Calendly in the future, because I intend on doing coaching in the future, because I think that I've got a lot to offer, but right now I'm focusing on the business that I'm doing right now, but there are incredible tools such as Calendly, there's Doodle, there's other ones. Just check them out. Go on Google and have a nohi, have a tutu. Okay, so that is Calendly. Okay, we're nearing the end of our show, and I want to use this last 5 minutes to actually talk about some of the things that I've actually learned, some of the insights that I've learned about myself from doing the Kahau I Te Ao e-program, e-commerce program. And because I would say that the program is intensive, if you are considering this, I would say yes, yes, yes. But know that this is going to stretch you need to put aside time. I would say that how I do it is that I do something every day. And there are some days where I will do blocks. It depends on, so I'm a sole contractor, and that's my bread and butter. So that's always my priority. And so I'll be always sure that I'm going to get my work done first, and then I'm going to set aside times, and I'm going or time, and usually that is at night, or it's early morning. So it might be either 5:30 in the morning, 5:30 to 7:30, or it's going to be at night 8 to 10 or it might be 7 to 10, you know, and but as long as I've done all my mama duties, I've done all of my thing, I've got everything organised for the next day, I've done my work, then I will just focus on my business. And you need to do that. You need to clear space and time. And I'm going to reiterate something that Travis always talks about. The people who passed kaho i te ao, the difference between them and those that didn't, and those that weren't successful, was the fact that they made time. So you have to create time. This is about you prioritizing you. Yesterday I was in a call with Leslie Nia, who leads a program called Huringa Te Hinenaro, which is about transforming our minds. And she asked us this question: are we 100% committed to ourselves? Will we show up for ourselves? And that means that regardless of what is going on, I've had a stressful day, the kids aren't listening, this has happened, I've got this deadline tomorrow, or I've got all of these board meetings all on the same day, but are you committed to yourself? And what that means is showing up every day and doing something, even if it's half an hour, even if it's reading something, because life happens. I know. I'm a single mama. I know it does. And yesterday, you know what? I had 4 meetings back to back. These are board meetings. These are high level board meetings. And I still went home and I still prepared for this, and I still made sure I was on top of my work, because I am committed to this. I am committed to myself and me achieving my goals. So that's one of the most important things. But I want to, the next thing that and I think what that is about, it's about your mind and getting your mind right, and knowing that having this growth mindset, regardless of the obstacles that happen in my life, regardless of what is happening, I'm going to find a solution to it. I'm going to work through it. I'm not going to give up. I want this so much that I'm going to do whatever I have to do. Okay. To conclude, I'm going to read an article that I wrote, and this is about I have written a few articles on my LinkedIn account, and it kind of my reflections of kahau i te ao and how I feel. And this is about the title of it is 6 weeks till e-commerce business. So I wrote this maybe about a week ago, because we've got about 5 weeks now. So 6 weeks till e-commerce business launch. What the heck? So what does the budding e-commerce guru, that is me of course, think 6 weeks out? I started with nothing, and as long as I don't lose that, I'm all good. So what the actual does this burlesque Zen imbued statement even mean? Let's go diving. Nothing means nil, zero, zilch, and kore in te reo Māori. In te ao Māori, te kore, te pō, te ao marama is the traditional creation story. Te kore is energy, potential, void, and nothingness. Te pō is the period of time those things take form. It is the dark, long night. Te ao marama is the emergence and realization of things. Clear as mud, huh? The purpose of this post is to drive home this point. Even if my business idea flops, and I'm 99% certain it won't, I won't stop dreaming, creating, or probing. I can't. It is part of my whakapapa, my genealogy. It is part of my DNA. There are many examples that remind me of my inability to stop trying. I remember when the 6-year-old me dove into the public swimming pool in Masterton, which is just down here. I did a belly flop and I cried because my cousins laughed, as they do, cousins do. My tummy was stinging, and not long after I was back in the water and I was doing the mimi on my cousin that laughed at me. Today I'm a powerful, confident swimmer. I'm a water sign, after all, adorned with characteristics of both Tangaroa and Hinemoana. I didn't let this little incident get the best of me, and whatever happens in 6 weeks won't either. It is about trying, learning, and being resolute to do better next time. In 6 weeks' time, I'll launch my online business. I'm a dreamer. I have to dream. If I reach for the stars and miss, then I grab a handful of clouds. And that is a quote by Mike Tyson. So we're going to leave there, whānau. We're going to finish off there, whānau. Thank you for being with me today. I will be here next week. Thursday 9 to 10, and I'll be sharing my learnings from the Kahau I Te Ao e-commerce program. And you can either watch this live or download the Arrow FM app. We are also on YouTube and Wairarapa TV. Have a great day, and remember, commit to yourself 100%. Show up. Mā te wā.